Zeepity-woo bop, buddy do. Zeepity dee. Ba-da-da.
Jalapeno. Jalapeno. Spicy.
This is Jacob.
This is Tommy. This is Tommy and Jacob's mixtape.
I don't like it. Yeah, fuck. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Hi. What? Okay, is it just me or does the energy in the room feel weird? Is it always this quiet?
No. Like, actually this quiet?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of why we do it.
I know, but like, I don't know.
That's kind of the point.
Maybe there's just, did I lose my soundtrack? Did I lose my life? What are we doing today, Tommy?
Anyways, hi everybody. This is Tommy. That's Jacob. And this is TJ's Mixtape. We're two friends and we like movies, so we talk about them, we review them, kind of go into the history of what made them, who stars in them, and then just kind of chit-chat about it and give an arbitrary rating at the end, just to put a nice pin in the conversation. This week we are doing 1998's Quest for Camelot.
Which last week we realized is an Arthurian story.
Yeah, which was a fun realization.
That was oh my, yeah, it's Camelot in the name.
We're dum-dums. But for those of you that don't know, an evil knight steals the magical sword of Excalibur and brings an unlikely trio together to save the kingdom of Camelot.
Unlikely trio. Are you considering the dragon one personality?
No, one physical entity.
Okay.
I didn't really put that much thought into it, to be honest.
But then I was also thinking, is he thinking about the mother as the trio?
No, I was thinking the dragon. The two-headed dragon.
That has two different brains.
Yeah. So
I'm just going to dissect what you say.
Quad.
Yeah.
But yes, Quest for Camelot was released May 15th, 1998. And it's a fun little kids adventure thing. Did you like it?
Not really, but it wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't good.
But it wasn't terrible either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found a lot more interest doing my research.
Okay. Well, let's get into it. Well, let's start based off of. So.
Yeah, it was based off of a book by Vera Chapman called The King's Damosel or Damsel. It's part of her 3-part Damsels trilogy, yeah.
Being the Green Knight, the King's Damsel, and then King Arthur's Daughter, which all published 1976? Yeah, 1976.
Yeah. And it's really interesting to kind of like read what that story was and then what this movie is, because not really the same thing.
No, it kind of went. I mean, but how much could you really...
I don't know, man. It's like there was like we're gonna make a PG-13, and it's like, how are you gonna do for kids? It's like, okay, what? And then it was like, music. And also, this is a fucking musical.
Yeah, and it's not great.
Oh, the music's not good at all.
It's not really.
Well, I shouldn't say it's not bad. It's just so same thing. It's like the same fucking song every single time almost.
Well, it's this Disney. Everyone was trying to compete with Disney, and Disney just had a sprinting start and
exactly. And did you read all of the I read the entire Wikipedia on this.
No, some of it.
There's a lot of really cool, interesting information. Oh, I didn't read any of the receptions, but there's a lot of really interesting points of views of the people that were working on this, lead animators, and because this was produced by Warner Brothers, and it feels like a Disney movie, and has the weird identity of the Ugly Stepchild Disney movie, because there's Cinderella's got the. That's all, guys. That's Jacob's been talking today.
I don't get it. As I felt it was more like Belle. She is weird because she reads.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but this is she's weird because she's a tomboy.
Yeah.
And she's just fucking who wants to? She's just airheaded pretty much, or not airheaded. distracted, doesn't pay attention to her surroundings. What's a good word for all of those?
Naive.
Yeah, that's a good way for it, I guess.
Kind of naive on things.
Yeah, and then but that's her arc as she learns to fight like a knight-ish.
Through love.
Yeah.
Through
You be my eyes.
Yeah, then their Can You Feel the Love Tonight moment was pretty brutal.
Dude, those fucking... I mean, I get the entire world is so weirdly magical for whatever fucking reason it is.
It's fucking Camelot.
Sure, okay. But when the magical leaves not only like cure his like apparently fatal wound that like grazed him, whatever, with the arrow, also repairs his clothes. Did you...
Magic. No, I thought that too.
I was like, all right.
All right. Well, so yes. So based on a book by Vera Chapman, our director is... Where is he?
Frederik.
Did I not write it down?
Chau.
Oh, there he is. Yeah, Frederik Chau, who I didn't really recognize.
I mean,
I know he's from Belgium.
He came in
that.
as a very young animator. Like his big, like, I want to say he was like 33 when he was directing this.
Nice.
Yeah. And then like his two other biggest ones that I saw was Racing Stripes and Underdog, which I had a fever dream memory of seeing a trailer for Underdog and then the poster for Racing Stripes. I'm like, I've seen that picture.
I've seen the zebra, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that before. I don't know if I've seen it, but I've seen that.
And also, like, he only kind of like took over on directing this after just like a bunch of like studio upper as producers and whatnot just slowly started dropping out. This movie was riddled with so much problems because like even just like, okay, so I didn't even like write down what any other people had like done for the writers because the writing is such a fucking jumbled mess. I'll even go into Wikipedia and read about it in a second. But the credited writers are Kirk DeMicco, William Schifrin, Jacqueline Feather, and David Seidler. And like Jacqueline Feather and David Seidler like were at the time like a wife husband like writing power couple.
Okay.
But like the production of this goddamn movie was like, where are we at here? So it was first announced, and then Bill Croyer and Frederik were announced as the director, and then Elizabeth Chandler, who had co-written the script for Little Princess, was enlisted to write the script. A person not on this list, on our credited list. And then it went into... and then Kirk DeMicco eventually got the official job. And then like Kirk DeMicco, just really quick, apparently he wrote on Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken, that came out like last year. You remember that animated one?
Yeah.
Like the mermaid's actually the bad guy, and the girl that's the Kraken, she's like, yeah. I actually wanted to watch that. It looked kind of cute.
I watched it.
Yeah? Was it cute?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, yeah, the whole idea was that it was supposed to be like a PG-13 rating, but it was changed to more family-friendly to compete with Disney Renaissance, like 100% to compete. And so these other writers called the Croyers came on, but then they ended up leaving it as well. They were fired by Howard, Max Howard, who became the president of Warner Brothers. So following the departure of them, two supervising animators, along with several other employees in the studio arts department, left the project. So then the film's initial producer, Frank Gladstone, also left the project in 1997 and was replaced by a person named Gilsig Cohen. Effects supervisor Michelle Gagné recalled that people were giving up. The head of layout was kicked out. The head of background, the executive producer, the director, the associate producer, all the heads rolled. They just like left. It's kind of a hard environment to work in. And then eventually Chau was promoted to the film's director. And then in an article in Animation Magazine, Crystal Koblund, who was the lead animator for Garrett, or Stick Boy, they stated it was top heavy. All the executives were happily running around and playing executive, getting corner offices, but very few of them had any concept about animation at all, about doing any animated film. It never occurred to anybody at the top that they had to start from the bottom and build that up. The problems were really coming at the inexperience of everyone involved. Those people were from Disney that had the idea that you just said, do it and it gets done. It never occurred to them that it got done because Disney had an infrastructure in place working like clockwork, and we didn't have that. So, like, reportedly costs overrun and production nightmare led to the studio to reconsider the commitment to animation film. And then filmmaker Brad Bird, who directed The Iron Giant, said that micromanaging, which he said worked well in Disney but not for Warner Brothers, had been part of the problem.
Today, Junior.
My brain started to, yeah. Well, so essentially, it's just like Warner Brothers was literally trying to create another Disney, and it was like probably all of these like Disney people that were maybe let go or left Disney for very specific reasons. Well, didn't understand how it was running.
I mean, it's just weird though too, because it's like Warner Brothers is no stranger to animation, so to have little understanding of the infrastructure that Disney had is kind of weird to me.
Yeah.
I mean, like even in this movie, the Warner Brothers logo shows up, and then who pops up next to it? Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
And granted, you're talking about, Looney Tunes and stuff like that is
it's a very different animal.
But at the end of the day, you have the infrastructure at least there for the animation. But then it's Warner Brothers, so then you have writer. I don't know. I mean, I just might be not versed enough in the world of that particular world to have an opinion about it.
Well, I mean, you also got to look at the difference of the style of animation that Looney Tunes, and also a lot of the animators were pulled off of this project to go finish Space Jam. And Space Jam came out the year before this, I want to say, if I remember correctly. But so it was literally this project just became kind of doomed. And the people that stuck on it, props on them for getting it done. But it feels like, I was talking about We're Back feels like they're trying to do this weird clone of a Disney movie. This is 100% trying to be a Disney movie.
Yeah, but I mean, this also has a discernible plot.
Yes.
From point A to it makes everything make sense.
Yeah.
Like point A to point B.
It's like this is like WB. My note was like WB is clearly ripping off Disney. And I was like, wait, or are they mocking them? Like, is this like this is you. This is what you sound like.
I mean, I got to get off of it, but I'm just kind of stuck on this, kind of just thinking about it as a whole.
What do you mean as a whole?
Just what I was saying earlier. It's kind of weird for a Warner Brothers animated film. And I'm just now that I'm thinking about it, I can't think of one off the top of my head. But okay, that's a great example. Look at this and then look at Iron Giant.
Yeah.
And you're like,
completely,
it's like, how
night and day.
Warner Brothers, how did you drop the ball this hard? Because then fine, jump back and you had Space Jam, which granted is live action mixed with animation, but that was a huge success too
because of Michael Jordan
but yeah, and it had it was it had all the familiar favorites, being their wacky Looney Tunes self. Mm-hmm. But it's just kind of like, you're like, this is out of that, at least from a monetary standpoint. Actually, I don't know. Was Iron Giant a flop or no? I can't remember.
I don't think it was a huge success, but I don't think it was a flop.
Was that over time?
I mean, it's definitely became.
It was a box office. It was a box office flop.
It was a flop. Okay. Because I mean, really, at this time, if the animated movie wasn't Disney, people didn't care.
Well, that was kind of a conversation I was having with someone else too about the whole. It's kind of a good example now is like DC versus Marvel.
Yeah,
it's like Disney for a very long time started accumulating studios and talent and whether it be animators or writers or producers, and they just slowly started just kind of absorbing all these things and a lot of these studios, and like we were talking about
Akira.
Well, we were talking about last night too. It's like, the Marvel and Star Wars properties were very loud.
Yeah.
Acquisition, but Disney's been doing it for years. Just some of them were more quiet because they were just not as in your face studios, Mm-hmm. And then you have Warner Brothers that's trying to. I think what the problem is that Warner Brothers was trying to make classics when Disney knows they can make classics.
Yeah, because Disney's been making classics since 1939 or
yeah,
whatever.
you know, they're sitting there and they're like,
well, no, like that lead animator that did for Garrett really, like, I think it's the nail on the head. You know,
yeah,
it's like the Warner Brothers, like there was these Disney people coming in. They were like, yeah, I do this, and it's like, well, you don't understand. They've been doing this for 60 fucking years.
yeah,
you know, we're trying to do it. We're trying to build that now, and we don't have that. And then so with people dropping out and, you know, just like abandoning the project and a young, you know, it's like good on Frederik for me. Like, no, this project needs to live. Like there's something in it. And it just turns into just like, yeah, it just turns into hodgepodge.
Well, then it's also weird to think, and we'll get into that later, but also just the pretty good talent that they got.
Amazing talent
for this movie.
Absolutely. Celine Dion sings a fucking song in this.
Yeah, and then the actual recorded released version, it's a duet with Andrea Bocelli.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? The hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's wild. And then even then, it's like, you know, just even with our cast, there's a couple pretty great people in this movie.
Okay, this also won Golden Globe for like Best Original Song and was nominated Academy Awards for Best Original Song.
Yeah, The Prayer, I think it was
Yeah,
called.
that's the one that Celine Dion sings. Yeah. Like, it's like, there was, that's the thing, is like,
and for Italia, for people that Andrea Bocelli, famous Italian opera singer.
And she sings it in the Italian version of the movie. Like,
you ever
translation.
seen Step Brothers? That song they sing at the end?
Ave Maria, right?
No, they're singing Andrea Bocelli.
Oh. Doesn't she? Oh, no, she doesn't do original Ave Maria. Yeah.
That one,
Yeah.
Time to Say Goodbye, that's
Yeah.
Andrea Bocelli. And he's incredible. He's incredible talent.
But it's just like looking at this, like this, there was just so much riddled problems that I see that why this movie, because even like the animation through it is really uneven. It feels like
It's almost even body dysmorphic.
it is.
It has these moments where you're like, that's not how the human body
moves.
Like there's a scene I remember with Garrett in there. It's like this downward angle with him looking up, and the way that they designed him, and it would be fun.
And the lines of his face are really like weird sometimes.
And it'd be fine if the whole movie was like that, if it wasn't consistent.
Yeah.
So there's these moments, and it was just really jarring because it's like, well, if the whole movie was this kind of boxy Superman, 90s Superman look, you'd be like, sure, whatever. But
it's
not.
like even what's her name?
Kaylee. Kayla.
Yeah, it's like her chest, like her like upper body moves like disjointedly from like the middle part of her torso and her hips sometimes.
Well, yeah, like when she's like dancing and twirling, the way she's doing it is really unhuman.
Yeah.
It's like Evil Dead. Something's taking her over.
Like the Evil Dead 2 ballerina.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. Like the amount of like care that was in this film that just like fell apart. And I think because even like, well, and then the story is just so much a knockoff of a, like they're like, oh, here's this King Arthur story, Arthurian legend, and now let's Disneyfy it pretty much.
Yeah. And I mean, it's also something about the music too was really, really dated. And I think a lot of that, when I noticed it, was when Garrett was singing. I felt like
I Stand Alone.
Yeah, that song.
You mean the Hercules knockoff?
Go the Distance, right?
Yeah.
I thought that too. Totally thought that too.
Even though I think Hercules came out after this.
Oh, they're right.
Neck and neck.
They're right there together. It's either like 97. It's like 97 and 99. I guarantee it.
Yeah,
it's
it's
right.
like-
Right.
yeah.
I gotta look now. Dead air. Fill it.
Yeah. There was even I forget what
97.
97.
97.
Okay. There was even another song in it where I thought
Turn back the clock.
it's just like, well, and like the thing that kind of bothered me. Let's go into starring. Actually, we're like getting really derailed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we gotta do reviews and everything too.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is also an interesting. This is going to be a little convoluted, a tiny bit, just because it's the old kit and caboodle back in the day where they had to get two people to play one character. They had a
actor,
a speaking voice, and then
a
a singing voice. And usually you try to get someone that sounds pretty close to the person talking. They weren't concerned with that.
Not
Nope.
at all.
They were and there's moments too where Garrett's talking and goes to singing, and it is jarring. How different he sounds. It's like, whoa. But yeah, so our lead, Kaylee, who's our young, she wants to be a knight, but
she's our heroine. She's
can't because she's a girl. They actually don't ever straight up just say that, which
no,
they mean that, but you're too young and it's too scary.
You're a girl.
That's basically what they're saying.
Jessalyn.
What were we doing? Oh yeah, right.
Jessalyn Gilsig is the voice for her. It took me a minute to kind of really like piece together where I'd seen her from, and I realized Glee is really what I recognize her from.
Never watched Glee.
I watched the first like 2 or 3 seasons of Glee, and she was the wife of the teacher, but she was kind of like crazy. And now, but like when I look back at it, it's like, yeah, she was kind of crazy, but all she wanted was her husband to not fuck the school counselor pretty much.
And you're like, I mean, I recognize her from Nip Tuck. She had a story arc in there.
Very small one.
I mean, she was in for like 16 episodes.
Really? I thought it was a little, but yeah. And then she's also in Heroes.
Vikings.
Yeah.
That a lot of TV and a lot of TV I never watched.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then just directly, we're just going to connect them to.
Yeah, Garrett.
Well, I was going to say her singing voice.
Oh, sure. Yeah, yeah.
Andrea Corr, who's the singing Kaylee, who is a member of the Corrs.
Yep,
an Irish pop Celtic band thing that I'm really intrigued by.
Dude, they're actually really cool. I was listening to them.
Oh, did you? Oh, you checked them out? I'm going to check them out.
We'll pull up on YouTube. But yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, that sounds like cool.
Yeah. it's very 90s.
Yeah.
And then, so then we have Garrett, our blind man, voiced by Cary.
Dude, there's so many blind jabs to him.
I know.
Well, you can't do it because you're blind. You're like, God damn.
Cary Elwes. How do you pronounce his last name? Is it Elwes? Elwes? Els?
You're
Elwes?
fucking me up. Shut up. I always say Cary Yules.
Did I?
That's not how I thought you Cary Yules.
I think I was saying that for a long time, but then now that I'm like looking at it, it's Elwes, like Elwes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, does he have his little? Where's his little? There you go. I didn't know he was English.
Yeah, Princess Bride, bro. I don't know.
Gary Oldman's not actually the commissioner of Gotham. I don't know.
Yeah, he is.
Don't fuck it.
Gotham's a real place.
Wow.
What?
His real name is Ivan Simon Cary Yules. He's 61.
It's a Yules?
I don't know. It doesn't.
Dear God, man.
You're dear God, man.
You're like you went to it to fucking do it, and then you didn't do it.
I didn't do it. I was distracted by his beautiful face.
Elwes.
Where are you seeing that?
I read the IPA on his IMDb.
Oh, okay. Oh, that link right there. That one right there next to his name. That one I should have clicked. That one.
Yeah.
That one.
God damn it. Well, Cary Elwes, fucking As You Wish. The Princess Bride.
Kirkland ran Jim Carrey from Liar Liar.
Yep. He's in Saw.
Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Yeah.
Very funny guy.
And his singing voice. I didn't write down the singing voice. I was going to go through it. Yeah.
Brian White.
He was a
American country singer.
Yeah, just really big.
Yeah.
Well, not really. A relatively big star at the time, I guess. A great voice. Great singing voice.
And then someone that stole the show from me was our voice actor of Ruber.
Fucking Gary Oldman again.
What the fuck?
How did we stumble across Gary Oldman?
No, but you're also like, what are you doing here?
I know. I wrote down to for his for acting coach, what a career.
Yeah.
Dude, he's done so much off the wall shit. That
but it's also he steals the show.
Yeah,
even as an animated character, he still is he's the most interesting thing about this movie.
I do gotta say though, the way that they animated that fucking guy made him so unhinged.
Yeah, his eyes are twitching.
He's like the way his lips are, his teeth and his fingernails, and it's just you made Kurgan. Ooh, scary.
He's just a dick.
But I was like, this is Kurgan from Highlander.
Oh yeah.
I was like, holy shit, dude.
Oh my god, it totally is. And he's got that crazy like receded hairline thing. He was a really good design villain.
You're not my king. And he's like, what happened at the first 5 minutes of this movie?
I even out loud said, wow, that escalated quickly. Because he's just like, then you'll serve a dead one. You're like, okay. It goes out with a mace.
Yeah.
Like, just fucking.
It's like across the. And then Arthur's like, oh, I need to reach for my sword slowly.
Yeah, the magical. Wait for a couple guys to get killed defending me. Really test their loyalty.
Yeah, right. God.
But yeah, like, I was sitting there and I was just like, God, that voice is so familiar. And it was in his song, and he yelled something. I don't remember what he yelled, but I got a flash of Sirius Black when
fair.
he's screaming about being locked in Azkaban.
Oh yeah,
And it just went boom, and it just clicked.
Is it the 15 years?
Yeah, 15 years of it. He did that octave.
Yeah.
And I went, oh, it's Gary Oldman. That's cool.
Yeah, dude, you know he had a blast for recording this movie.
Oh, I just would love to see the footage of him.
Yeah,
all, like,
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Because like this is also like by surprise. This is our fourth Gary Oldman film. I want to say
Fifth
Element,
It's this.
Planet of the Apes, this, and Air Force One 2 weeks ago.
Planet of the Apes.
Oh no, that's Tim Roth.
Yeah,
Never
I was
mind.
like, no, you're thinking of Tim Roth.
I was getting him and Tim Roth confused. Okay.
I'm like, I want to see Gary Oldman as the general. Like, I'm like, that sounds pretty cool. Yeah. I mean, I honestly think just because of our taste in movies and stuff, there will get to a point that we'll probably have done majority of Gary Oldman's career,
The majority of his career.
like the big ones.
Okay, fair. Because
Like
like
the
he's
big
like
ones.
over 40 movie, like over 60 movies.
No, the big ones.
Yeah, okay.
We're gonna do Dracula at some point. You know, we're gonna do. I want to do the Hannibals at some point. I'm not sure what to do with those, but that's a conversation for later. Okay, and then
I have the dragons next on my list.
okay, so we have Eric Idle, who plays Devin. Monty Python.
Yeah,
He's in Casper. Did we ever do Casper?
we haven't done Casper.
We
You
haven't done
just talk about it a lot.
I love that movie.
And then Don Rickles is
Fucking Don Rickles.
right.
Like, he passed away in 2017, but
Their banter on with each other is really fun.
I hated it. I thought they had no.
Their banter was fun, but the character was obnoxious
Yeah, I couldn't.
because it was such a genie Disney. It was a Disney, the quirky character that breaks the doesn't break the fourth wall like to the camera, but breaks the convention of the world to bring like modern cultural references into a film that does not have any relation to it at all.
That's you're going with the genie thing.
Yeah.
Well,
And then their fucking song that just comes out of nowhere.
I was gonna say that to me is also a really big sign for this kind of movie. At its kind of it feels saying weak is rude, but it's just the music didn't click for me. But I think the villain song and the quirky with the genie character, those two songs are very important to nail because those are the two you can have most fun with.
Yeah.
Because those are the most over the top they're gonna be.
Yeah.
Because you have this magical friend, and then you have the villain.
Mm-hmm.
You know, think
I feel
Friends
like-
on the Other Side, Scar's song, like all those are really these big. Judge Frollo, these are all big moments
Yeah.
where they're telling their
Oh,
destiny.
what's Hades? Do you remember Hades' song?
He didn't have a song. They sung about him.
That's fair. Yeah.
It was the Muses.
That's right. Yeah.
But he also had a great, he ran the underworld. And
Yeah,
they're showing
yeah,
the
yeah.
set piece of
his
this
world. Yeah.
River of Styx and stuff. Yeah.
Well, and then the song for them. Well, and also like your like main protagonist, the main protagonist song of like why I'm grieving. Like why
the world isn't fair kind of thing. Yeah.
Go the distance, or not. It's not going the distance in Hercules. It's
Yeah.
It is going to distance. Yeah. And then in Aladdin,
Michael Bolton.
Yeah, Aladdin. It's one jump. Or no, not one jump. What's the reprise?
One jump reprise.
Yeah,
I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, it is a one jump reprise.
Street rat,
If rat, I don't
sorry, I'm
buy
having
that.
technical
If only they'd look closer. Yeah. But yeah, it's like, and I feel like this, like the song standalone.
I didn't mean to make that face.
The song standalone for Garrett is not a bad song. It's everything's just super generic, is what it is.
Yeah, and
but we're getting distracted again. We still got like a couple more people real quick. There's also a shitload of voice actors in this.
Yeah.
So let's just quickly get through.
Juliana is played by Jane Seymour. Her singing voice is Celine Dion.
Yeah, and Jane Seymour, Dr. Quinn, medicine woman. For
Wedding Crashers.
Wedding Crashers.
Yeah.
Oh my God, such an uncomfortable and awesome scene.
You motorboating son of a bitch, you old sailor, you. Pierce Brosnan is King Arthur.
Mm-hmm. And his singing voice is Steve Perry from fucking Journey.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
Also, I just want to really quick just point out, as just fun snippet, Pierce Brosnan played Bond. Jane Seymour started her career as a Bond girl with Roger Moore.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And then fucking, you got like Jaleel White
Who plays Bladebeak,
which is a type character.
He's
Jaleel
your Bartok.
Yeah. Yeah, and Jaleel White is Family Matters. Urkel.
Urkel.
Yeah.
Or in Big Fat Liar. He plays himself in that movie.
I've never seen that, actually.
But what's his name?
That's Frankie Muniz and
Paul Giamatti, right?
Paul Giamatti and Amanda Bynes, right?
Paul Giamatti is like this asshole producer.
Yeah.
But he keeps calling him Urkel rather than his real name.
And Jaleel.
Yeah, he's like, Jaleel, my bad. He just keeps calling
That's so fucking funny, actually.
And he hates him for it. Yeah, and then Gabriel Byrne, who's Lionel, the father.
The father,
right?
Yeah. Who we did in Cool World.
In Cool World, and that's it. Then you have Frank Welker, who's a famous voice actor.
He just does bird noises in this. He's the Falcon.
Oh, is he really? I didn't know that.
And then the Griffin is voiced by a guy who was really kind of...
Bronson Pickett?
Yeah, he was a character actor for this time. So it's a crazy good cast.
Yeah.
Really. It's a great cast.
It's a great cast.
Well, and originally Christopher Reeve was the voice of Arthur, and he couldn't come in to re-record lines, so they recast him with Brosnan.
I wonder if that's why they have the Superman song in there.
Oh. I didn't put that together.
Yeah. I was sitting there too, like, how'd they get the rights to that?
I was sitting there wondering, like, I was like, why does that sound familiar? Now I know which part you're talking about.
Okay. The dragons fighting the griffin.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, oh yeah, it's Warner Brothers. That's how they got the rights to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the dragons now can fly and blow fire. All right, let's do reviews.
Because of love.
All right, so this movie has a 6.2 on IMDb, and then a 43% tomato meter, and a 60% audience score in Rotten Tomatoes. All of that feels very correct to me. Well, I guess the 6.2 kind of feels a little high, but again, like nostalgia, audience stuff, you know.
Yeah. Well, on Metacritic, this has a 50 out of 100, which comes to mixed or average, with 8 positive, 13 mixed, and 1 negative. For the positive, we went with Philip Thomas, who gave an 80 out of 100 at Empire. The movie as a whole, an undeserved flop in the U.S., is energetic, pacey, and funny with tons of great fights. What more could any 6-year-old want?
Sure, why not?
That's who it's for. 50 out of 100, 50 out of 100. 50 out of 100 by Ken Fox at TV Guide Magazine. There are a few inspired set pieces. Ruber's creation of a mechanical army is really quite something, and the score by David Foster and Carol Breyer Sager is generally fine, but overall, this is a bloodless entry into an already highly formulaic genre.
That is I really like that one. What was the rating that they gave
50.
it? 50? Fair. Okay.
And then the one negative was 25 out of 100 by Lawrence Topman at Charlotte Observer. I forgot this one's kind of rude. You may enjoy Quest for Camelot if you have no sense of animation history, no sense of movie musical history, and no sense of mythical history, especially the Arthurian tale legend. Otherwise, you'll wish you could drink yourself under the round table. If you like this, you're dumb. is basically how I read it.
I really like that review.
It's really rude.
That was so good.
It's really rude.
Oh my god. Because it's rude, it is, but it's kind of like on point in a sense of like, it's kind of like calling out the creators as well. It's like, where you are a professional. It's like the history of everything and you just did this.
Yeah. Phone it in kind of thing.
Yeah. Is what it feels like, but I feel like it was just one big struggle bus. This was the entire like production for this movie is really what it was. Because going back into the music, I don't mind. I like musicals. You're not really a big fan of a lot of musicals,
nope.
But I know that you do enjoy Disney movies that have their musical elements to them. And there's that big argument. It's like, well, aren't Disney movies just musicals? But there's more narrative and story than there is like music and what's generally considered a musical.
Mm-hmm.
In the point of stuff having musicalness to it, kind of like a Disney movie or what this movie is, the music is generally something to aid or heighten or emphasize a moment, a character's feelings, a thing that's happening. It's like there's a build of emotion, and then the next thing is like that has to happen is it becomes musical because that's the next level of heightened, text, you could say. It's now you sing what you're feeling,
Yeah.
And this movie does not really do that for the majority of their songs. A little bit they do with like the prayer one where it's like the mother singing like, I hope my daughter's going to be okay. It does come kind of out of nowhere. The I Stand Alone ish does. The villains one, I think is fine.
Well, it was short and sweet.
Short and sweet. Gary Oldman has fun killing it. He's also singing it too, which is, I love that. I love when they keep the villain as like the same singer as well.
Yeah.
But like, especially the one that bothers me the most is the Dragons, is the quirky sidekick, because it's like they introduce him, he saves the day, and then all of a sudden it's like it's almost as if like the executives were like, well, this is when they have their song, right? Their quirky song. Get their song in there. Make their song. What's their stuff about? And
I think that's kind of what it is that with these movies, these kinds of movies, you're putting a song in to put a song in.
Yes.
It's kind of like I was thinking of Page Master.
Yes, 100%.
That weird little pop song in there, and you're like, you didn't.
It's like, why did this turn into a music video?
You didn't need to do that. And I'm kind of thinking about this movie too. You actually really didn't need.
This didn't need to be a musical at all.
Well, and also because they didn't commit to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest problem. Because I kind of already said that, but I was thinking about like just the villain song too. It's like Scar's moment and Judge Frollo's moment and even Gaston's moment. Gaston's moment is a funny villain song.
Because you see how ridiculous he is.
How egomaniac he is, and that's kind of showing you a lot of his character. But there are these really big, cool pieces, and even with his little song that, like I was saying, it's short and sweet. It's like, well, you could have really, like that too, building his mechanical army. Mm-hmm. And then they show that he's made like 8 of these dudes. And then throughout this progression, suddenly there's just more and more. Now there's like 20 of them. And then they get to the castle and there's like...
Those things were actually really cool designs. I liked the weird magical potion of like, throw it in. Also, did you notice that it said Acme?
Yeah.
I was like, all right, Warner Brothers, fucking cool. But I like that idea that of this potion. You throw in a human and you throw in a weapon, and they become
this sentient
robot
monster thing.
Yeah.
But I think that's really just what it is, that they just didn't commit enough. I mean,
well, because even like when they go into the romance song, it's like all of a sudden, can you feel the love tonight? That also had the opening of that fucking, like the opening notes of the song they sang.
Yeah, but that's one of the 4-chord songs. So.
Yeah, I know, but still.
But I don't know. It's just
everything feels almost everything of this movie just feels very forced.
And it's like with a musical too, you have to commit. I feel like with a musical, you can go over the top, and that's fine because
But by
it's a musical.
I mean, I would say they did commit, but the problem was is that they committed to making music for something without writing it in a sense to earn the music. Because even when like you think about Aladdin, and when Genie's like, "You got a friend like me," it's like this him building up, like explaining his rules and whatnot, and then Aladdin, is kind of being coy with some stuff, and then eventually Genie's like, "Yeah, come on, no, let's have some fun," and like he builds up, and then all of a sudden he's like, and it slowly builds to this extravagant fucking song, You see what I mean?
It's a great scene.
It's a wonderful fucking scene, yeah. But then this, it's just kind of like all of us. It just literally they just start dancing and start singing, and then they're in their own fucking weird world.
Well, I think that's the thing too, is just the lyricist aspect of it. It's just like a lot of the songs in this were really just like the lyrics were really just tripping on themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I don't know, I'm too completely honestly, I can't really remember any of the songs now, but I remember.
Yeah, same.
They're really just.
I remember. What's weird is like I remember hearing the beginning of the song
And
and
it's
being like,
dated.
"This sounds like something that I've already heard."
And that's what I think it is too. It's like even with the '90s Disney movies, the music themselves you could say is dated, but it lives in such this Disney musical world that it's fine. This feels like '90s music.
Yeah.
That even the "I Stand Alone," even how he is singing, the actual way that he is singing it, is also very much the style
Of that time. Well, and it's like not even just like style of that time. It's also it really feels like them trying to be Disney too.
Well, but then also on the other end too, then you get someone like Celine Dion, and you don't let her fly. Like, what are you talking? You're getting Celine Dion, like Celine Dion,
Yeah.
the powerhouse talent that is Celine Dion, and you're like gonna give her 15 seconds of singing. Why even have her in it? Like,
Because they have her recording the full song for the soundtrack.
yeah, but I'm like, why didn't we have the full?
Which then apparently fucking Leanne Rimes sings another version of as well in the credits. Like, or maybe it was a different song. I don't know. Leanne Rimes recorded a fucking song for this as well. Not for any of the characters, but for like just the soundtrack.
Yeah.
It's like too many voices here, guys. And Steve Perry sung like multiple songs as well.
It is kind of weird. I'm just thinking about a couple other movies that they weren't necessarily animated, but just that kind of weird. We need a song for this movie thing that I feel like doesn't really happen. Does it happen anymore? I don't really think it happens anymore.
It was very much a 80s, late 80s, 90s thing, I want to say.
Like to the point where you could name certain songs and then know the movie. Like, who wants to live forever?
Yeah. Fucking Highlander.
Yeah. Or
what we were talking about last night, A Kiss from a Rose.
Kiss from a Rose. Like, what the fuck is that doing in there?
Yeah.
What is that? What is the point of that? Or Tina Arena and Mark Anthony, the Zorro song.
Oh.
What is that one?
My
Shit.
Hero? No.
No. Whatever. I can't remember. But that had a...
Well, it's also like these songs that they made the song and then in the music video, they're taking clips from the movie that it's for as well,
Oh, I want to spend my lifetime loving you.
That's
I
a
want
long...
to spend my life.
I don't remember that one very well, actually.
But that was also in the time, too, when the music video would come out and have splices.
That's what I was just saying.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
I was looking it up. But yeah, I do miss that time. I like that time. It's fun. And they say that a hero can serve.
Oh, yeah, the early 2000s. Because even like Dashboard Confessional had one with Spider-Man 2. What song was that? I can't remember.
Wasn't Bring Me to Life the Daredevil song?
So that song, we've had this conversation before. That song is in Daredevil in the closing credits, but there was whatever like edited like video of like Daredevil in the music video had to have been like fan made because we watched the music video and there was zero. But we have memories.
Or it could be that or timeline split thing.
The Mandela effect.
Yeah, the Mandela effect thing. Like that might have existed.
You're finally you're catching on, man. As I peel back my head and I'm a lizard.
I think my mental illness is just really setting in at my older age. I think I'm starting to lose it.
I mean, let me look over my notes really quick. Already the musical aspect, quirky friends, yeah. Oh, I mean, yeah. Honestly, my favorite thing in this movie was the villain. Ruber was just fucking unhinged. Gary Oldman was great. Oh, the way that they defeated him at the end was kind of like okay, sure.
Yeah. I was kind of sitting there wondering.
They made King Arthur look like a fucking pansy in this.
He was a pansy.
In real life? No, dude.
No, in this.
Oh, yeah.
He was a pansy.
Yeah, but yeah.
I'm sorry, that too. That was so goddamn annoying. I got why Ruben was a bad guy. Well, just this high and mighty sitting on your your damn table. And like in the beginning when you meet them and they're unity, peace, and they're picking up their shields.
We are the Knights of the Round Table.
It's only a mortal. That's all this movie really wanted me. I just wanted to watch Holy Grail. I wanted to watch Holy Grail, or I want to watch Sam Neill's Merlin.
Oh, fair.
Dude, great cast, by the way. I was looking at it last night. That's a great cast from that TV miniseries or whatever. When that's the round table.
Unity. No, it's like also how many different. There's 13 of them. So it was like when he was like when it started with the first 3, I was like, oh god, is he gonna go through all fucking 13?
And they kind of do.
And I was like, Jesus Christ.
And no, you're like, no shit, you're sitting there as the bad guy. Like, God, this is so aggravating. And even when he's like about to kill Arthur, and Arthur's like, you can never stand in the way of pure justice. And you're like, kill him.
I would never bow to a false king.
Yeah.
Then die, motherfucker.
Yeah. Well, that was actually a pretty good line. I liked that. We will never serve a false king.
Yeah.
Then serve a dead one. You know, he goes for him. That was pretty cool. Pretty big, good bad guy line.
Oh, 100%.
But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of funny to me too, because he puts the thing in and then he evaporates, and you're kind of like, okay,
because the magic of the stone,
magic.
Because the world is magical. Just so you know,
it's magic.
The world is very fucking magical with the plants that are alive.
Well, it's just like, I don't know,
dragons that apparently can be killed easily.
Bummer, because it's just Disney too. I don't want to keep it, but just thinking of that, it's like their bad guy deaths are always really fucking sweet,
dude. Most of the time, yeah.
And most of the time they're pretty
Tarzan's
it's brutal.
You just see his feet hanging
like
shadowed. Like, holy crap, dude!
Yeah.
Damn. Doesn't Frollo like fall into a pit of fire?
Yeah, he falls into lava, or the molten stuff that they're doing to protect the cathedral.
Yeah.
But as he's having this whole monologue about genocide and you all burn in the flame, and then he just loses his footing. And
maybe you shouldn't have said that.
Smeagol, trying to catch the ring. But it was a lot, Ursula gets impaled, like, they take a fucking boat. Like
Scar gets trampled, like in
No, Scar gets eaten alive by hyenas.
Hyenas, that's right. Yeah,
like it's pretty good. So I was kind of hoping. I was like,
the hyenas that he starved.
Yeah, and then scared into submission. But yeah, I was kind of hoping for something. But that kind of goes into me. They didn't really. I don't know. Didn't feel like they really commit to. And maybe that was that PG-13 thing. Like, okay, imagine this movie, but let's put a Titan AE spin on it. Like, make it pretty adult.
Yeah, well,
that'd be fucking dope.
No, 100%. That's kind of the thing, is that I think them trying so hard to be Disney was a big failure for one. The making it. Well, I mean, the Disneyfication is like making it a musical as well. There was probably just so many like good ideas that were originally there, and then too many people were like, no, we need to make this kid friendly. We need to make this kid friendly. And that's why people just started dropping off. They're like, you're not letting us create what we wanted to create.
Yeah. I'm a peacock, I gotta fly. They weren't.
Because even like, so let's see let me just double check this, because there is a list on the King's Damsel, the film adaptation. It points out all of the things that are different. Significant changes to the plot and themes of the story include the following. Lynette is renamed Kaylee. She has no older sister, and is trying to save her mother from Ruber by retrieving Excalibur instead of going for the Holy Grail. Darker elements of Lynette Cayley's childhood, including her assault.
Well, that makes sense, though.
And are absent. Instead, she is seemingly perfect childhood up until her father is killed by Ruber. In both versions, she is portrayed as a tomboy who is more interested in horseback riding and combat than more ladylike pursuits. I mean, it's a fucking full-on list here of stuff. It's really interesting. And as I was reading, it's like, oh, if you haven't read the book or the description of the book, this is kind of just gonna be dead air to you. The movie added several trademark elements of children's animation, including several talking animal sidekicks: Devon and Cornwall, the dragon's Bladebeak, Ruber's Griffin, Aiden, the Falcon, although it doesn't really speak, has a personality of a human, and musical numbers. It's like, yeah, this book wasn't a fucking musical. And it's actually was it a pigeon? Literally the only thing they took from Vera Chapman's book was this Red Knight, Ruber, trying to usurp King Arthur, and Lynette, and then in the actual story, it's sisters trying to find the Holy Grail. It
kind of makes sense to me that they went away from the Holy Grail.
Yes, because and also that one of the writers kind of talks about saying like we switched the Holy Grail to Excalibur because Excalibur is more of like a significant symbol to King Arthur himself and the kingdom of Camelot. So for them to switch out, it kind of helped tie in motives and themes.
Well, then also you avoid the religious aspect of the Holy Grail.
Yes, yeah.
It is like the Holy Grail is in the Arthur legend, but it's also in the mythos of the Holy Grail.
Yeah,
and that magical artifact in Catholic themes. But then with the sword, it's like, well, he got the sword from
Catholic.
He got it from a lady in a lake.
But this one was the Sword in the Stone.
What?
The Excalibur?
Yeah.
This is the story of the Sword in the Stone.
Yes.
Yeah. He didn't get it from the lady in the lake.
Well, Merlin got it from Lady in the Lake.
Not what?
Merlin got it and then he put it in the stone. Merlin got the sword, then he put it in the stone.
How do I not know about that?
Because I don't know if that's true.
I don't think that's true at all.
I thought Merlin got it and then Merlin put it in the stone.
No. So, okay, the original story is that Excalibur was pulled out from the stone, was broken, and then the Lady of the Lake, she fixes it for Arthur.
Oh. Okay. I always thought Merlin got it for some reason, and then he's the one that... I mean, it could be from that stupid Merlin show.
Possibly.
I watched that in my formative years. I have no idea how accurate any of that stuff is. I just remember liking it.
It's been since high school when I really read the Arthurian legend. But if I remember correctly, the movie Excalibur, which is one of my favorite renditions of it, is one of the more accurate to the actual like legend of Arthur.
There's something here: the sword in the stone and the sword in the lake.
Mm-hmm. There's kind of two different legends to it.
I'm gonna read about this now.
Not right now. You're not.
I know I'm not right. I said I'm going to, not currently.
You looked like you're getting ready to bundle up and get into reading. I was like, okay, cool. I guess the podcast is over, guys. Merlin?
Traditionally, the sword and the stone that is proof of Arthur's lineage and the sword given to him by the Lady in the Lake are not the same weapon. Even as in some versions of the legend, both of them share the name Excalibur. So, several similar swords and other weapons also appear in the Arthurian text as well as in other languages. Okay, so there's...
Yeah, that's why it's convoluted.
Huh. Well, I'm going to bookmark that for later. I'm going to read more about that.
Okay, we're kind of like bouncing around. We're getting close-ish to an hour. I think like we should just kind of like do some like final up thoughts about the movie and then give our rating.
Okay.
Because, I mean... I don't really know what else to kind of bring up.
I mean, I guess what we've been kind of forgetting to do is, do you recommend it?
Not really.
Even for who it's for?
Not even for kids, no, because I don't think I ever watched this all the way through when I was a kid. I think I lost interest.
I think if you're a kid, was like me at all and into the Knights, Camelot.
I was
stuff.
really into that stuff.
I think that it's a good watch. I think that it will phase out pretty quick of their keeping their attention span because there isn't.
It's not captivating enough.
It's not. It's really because even then we were talking about Gary Oldman and the villain and everything. Even he is really lackluster. We're giving him a lot of praise in the place of what else is going on.
God damn it, where was it? There was this moment, I think it's right after the love song, and then there's just like this 15-second like clip of him like, oh yeah, it's right. He picks up a burning ember and crushes it in his hand. He's like, and then it cuts away. There was like there's no context.
Yeah, he says, when I find that little girl, as he's picking up and he's just burning his hand.
Yeah.
The context is to show you he's crazy.
Yeah, but it's like, it's like there was no like build up to like why he's saying this. It's like the song ends, cut to him, craziness, and then cut back to them. I was like, what? What just happened?
They're showing you he's crazy.
Like, yeah.
Did it work? Do you feel like he's crazy?
Yeah.
Well, I just thought with his
But it didn't feel like it was an earned moment.
See, that's a good point, too. It's like it all felt like it was really in this kind of reality. But then what's his name? Ruber. And then his design was such this kind of weird. He had that Superman thing I was talking about.
He was a Highlander.
Yeah, and he was such a weird design that it made him really stand out, which I guess it's not the only time they do that.
No,
but it really stood out.
It's like, oh, who's the villain? You can see who the villain is.
You want to be able to point him out.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just thought I don't know. He was the best thing in a not great thing.
No. And I think I just kind of realized like a lot of a reoccurring thing I'm bringing up is they didn't really earn the beats that they were setting up narrative wise throughout all that. Not even just the songs, but like the falling in love, the villain being what he is, him just how quickly they defeat him in a sense of like, oh, it's a callback to Garrett teaching Kaylee how to, dodge the plant type thing, It's like, nothing, there's no sense of just like urgency or stakes leading to this moment for you to be like, oh, they earned that beat in that scene.
I guess that's fair.
It just feels very flat.
I guess that is fair too, because it really never is. There is no moment where you actually feel like our heroes are actually in trouble.
Yeah.
Because even, I know we keep bringing it, but it's kind of impossible to not bring up other movies because they're like this. But, even that scene in Aladdin when he's trying to get out of the Cave of Wonders with the lava and everything. There's a lot of tension in that, And even as an adult, you're watching and being like, well, the movie's fucking called Aladdin. Like, he's going to get out of here. Well, but it still has this high stakes feel.
Yeah, because the way that the action is animated, the help from the score, the music help building tension.
Yeah.
With it going into the crusade. Even like Lee trying to escape the Cave of Wonders, and he gets out, and then it's revealed that the old man is Jafar. That crescendo as he throws Aladdin back into the mouth,
and he has that really terrifying screaming moment.
Yeah, it's like that's the thing. It's like that. There's this big build going on in that scene up to that moment, and there's no really build of tension ever in this movie.
I think that also with that too, the issue is he never really has the upper hand as a villain. It's kind of weird, actually. Now
are you talking about Ruber?
Yeah. Usually it's always, our heroes that are being stopped at every turn.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually him.
Yeah, that's true.
Weirdly, now that I'm thinking about it.
Because it's like they're playing like cat and mouse. He keeps catching up to them.
But then something happens that they're being chased by the dragons. They run into Ruber.
Mm-hmm.
And then with the dragons, they're able to escape, and now he has to deal with the dragons.
Yeah.
And then there's a whole stone golem thing,
mm-hmm.
and then they accidentally wake up the golem, and then Ruber and his men get smashed up against the wall. He's always the butt of a joke.
Yeah.
And I just realized that's kind of really weird for.
And
this
then it
kind
takes
of movie.
away the power of the villain in a weird.
And then
way.
when you finally have him at the end, where he's going to,
and he has Excalibur on his hand. Spoiler.
Yeah, it doesn't have any of.
The weight,
because
the levity.
He hasn't been in control of the situation since we met him.
Yeah.
Because even then, when we first meet him, he has them all hostages, and then somehow Kaylee just disappears, and a lot of time goes by before he notices she's gone until he literally sees her running off into the distance. So I just thought of that they did actually do that really weird for this formulaic thing. They kind of reversed it, which is a weird choice because it's always your heroes that are trying to overcome.
Yeah.
And they weren't really overcoming. They just kind of kept falling into these perfect kind of scenarios where he was made of the laughing stock. Huh. That is weird.
It is interesting. And it's definitely, like I said, like it kind of, it takes some of the, like, because then what's weird is like in a narrative sense, that is kind of like thing is like it takes power away from him. Then, but once he finally gets Excalibur and then he binds it to himself with the magic, like that is kind of like you feel like he's almost won, you know? Because whoever holds Excalibur is, you know, take the kingdom, you know?
Well, but even that too, it's like, you know, Excalibur doesn't really work for him because he's not chosen to wield it. But they even could have gone a way of like with that by him cheating basically to make it part of him, it corrupts the magic. Yeah. And you could have done some really cool transformation with him to make him now really scary. Yeah. You know, make him more like it's fighting, you know, it's more of like instead of, you know, the mechanical thing, they became living machines, but have it like kind of this fighting him. I don't know. I feel like you could have done more with it and actually made him at the tail end, made him really scary again. Yeah. And give him back that power of like, oh no, here's our villain. You know, he's been this kind of joke. But even
he's
then,
unhinged the entire fucking time.
Yeah. And then,
how do you make him more unhinged?
And then even that too, even if you want to bring it back out to where he is kind of at the always one step behind our heroes at the end is when he's finally at the peak, you know, and he actually becomes a threat. And they didn't really do that because he puts the sword in the stone. No, which are like just don't
because stone kind of like sucks in. It's like give it back.
Yeah, you know, I'm like maybe you should keep those two separated. Like I don't think.
Well, that's also kind of like the folly of the villain, like not thinking he's more powerful than anything at the moment.
That's true. His being like he's more like a god, which are also like, what have you done to give you that impression? Nothing.
I don't know, dude. He did fucking play fucking god when he, you know, created mechanical sentience.
Yeah, but he didn't make that. He just put it in a well and threw him in there.
True, but I mean, that would make me feel like a god. You know, if I threw two things into a portal and it came out sentient. No?
What weapon would you pick?
Like for myself?
To fuse with.
I don't want to fuse with any weapon.
Oh. The guy comes up with the fork. Remember that?
Oh, I think I missed that.
Oh, yeah. One of the henchmen comes up and he's like, has a fork. He's like, huh? And he's like, no. And he grabs him and he throws a crossbow and throws him in there.
Oh, shit.
He's like, no, you're not getting a fork.
Oh, man. I also remembered that this is, I think we can wrap it up. But like the rooster that becomes Bladebeak, I just really thought was funny. The setup through all that is like, since he's the rooster, like all of the other chickens are just constantly like pampering him and like he's like flirting with them, but then like the big mama, the big hen,
the big bosoms,
and she's like, what, like who? And he's like, oh, and the other ones run away. It's like,
well, one of my favorite,
what is happening
on that? And I thought it was just really funny animation choice and just a little detail. One of the times she goes up to hit him, she walks up to him and she puts her foot on top of his foot, and then cocks back to keep him there. It's like, no, I want to get my full effect, but I want to make sure that you're not gonna move. It's like, I want you to stay right here. Hold still. I thought that was pretty funny.
That was the rooster and the hen house is a really weirdly unhinged adultish kind of thing in this movie.
Well, yeah, but it just is innate, even like in Chicken Run.
Yeah.
when Mel Gibson's, I can't remember, Rex or whatever the fuck his name is. When he shows up, and then all of them just start swooning over this American. He's an American chicken, you know, and they all start.
God, that movie's so ridiculous.
Yeah, that's a great movie. That's a great movie. It's all about prisoner of war and internment camps. And again, like we've been talking about, you're sitting there as an adult, like, are you getting any of this? This is some pretty heavy shit, just coated in chocolate. It's just coated in candy, but this is some pretty heavy shit.
Oh, fuck.
All right, what are we giving this one?
I'm between like a 2 and a 2.5.
I was gonna say a 2.
Yeah?
Yeah, a 2. I think this is out there for somewhere, and I think if it's one of those nostalgic movies that you enjoy because you're a kid, good on you.
Yeah, fair,
it's cute enough.
Like,
you know.
I could see if the music as a kid, like, kind of spoke to you, or like you remember the music as a kid, enjoying some of the songs or whatever. I mean, fucking that song that Celine Dion sings, it won Golden Globe for Best Original Song. Like, that's not a bad. It's like that's not a bad song, but the rest of everything else is just. It feels like not a carbon copy, a Kirkland brand version of a Disney song.
Yeah, and I kind of like what I said to the committing it to, because even then a lot of the songs are really, really short. So even by the time you kind of strap in to, we're in for a musical number, it's kind of over pretty quick.
Yeah.
Or it's the exact opposite where it's going on way too long.
The opening one,
the I Stand Alone, and the Dragon song.
Yeah.
Were weirdly long, and it might be because they weren't, but I kind of felt like they just were weirdly long. Just a little bit.
I think it was more the pacing of the song than the length, to be honest.
It just felt like these weird.
Especially for the I Stand Alone, that one I feel like is more pacing than length. The love song was uncomfortable. I was like, I don't care.
Did we even really talk about Garrett being blind? Like,
no,
that's his whole.
That's
spiel.
his thing. That's his.
He
whole
wants
thing.
to be a knight, but he's blind, so he feels ostracized from the society.
Yeah.
Don't really get a whole lot on that.
Yeah.
Except that's what he says.
Oh, and then like at the very end, since they saved Camelot, they both get knighted, and they ride away on a horse that says "just knighted," insinuating that they're also married or something.
I don't know. I think that was just to. Well, I thought they were getting married because she was wearing a white dress.
Same. No, and then I thought, is she about to marry Arthur?
I was really confused.
I was so confused.
But yeah, there's the whole thing. Lionel helped Garrett learn how to be.
Oh yeah! All of a sudden, it's like, I remember your father. Like, what?
He basically taught him how to be Daredevil.
I was like, wait, what? Who do I? Yeah, that's another thing. It's like there's like when I said like moments that aren't earned. Even like they just kind of was like, oh yeah, let's just say that Garrett was trained by her father, and then we'll just there we go.
When we're sitting there too, it's Cary sitting there like this feels a lot like Princess Bride when he's like taking her through the forest and saving her. Like, you know what I mean? Like I get it'd be one thing if you're like listening to you're recording
trouble.
You're like listening to it, but then to sit there and watch it and be like, this feels really weirdly with his voice and everything. Yeah, we didn't really talk about Garrett, but that wasn't. Yeah, that's a good point. That
honestly,
didn't earned.
It's kind of hard to talk about any of the character development of this when the story itself really didn't have much to offer.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Well, because that's true. Because even then, it's like he abandons her like 3/4 of basically they got to the base of Mordor and he was like peace.
Yeah,
and which you're kind of like, oh, you're not done yet, but okay, sure. And then the whole he feels like he was that what I said, he's ostracized from the society, but you don't really get.
He kind of ostracized himself.
Yeah, it's more of, and I think that's what they're kind of trying to.
I'm blind, pity me.
Trying to get.
We need to wrap this up, man. We're like an hour and 10.
We could just stop saying
just
shit
dark,
like that.
horrible shit.
Anyway, so yeah, that was Quest for Camelot. That was episode 199.
Yeah.
And we gave Quest for Camelot 2 out of 5. I recommend it for your kiddos if they like this kind of stuff.
See if they have the attention span.
Yeah, like I don't think that it's terrible. I mean, but even then, it's the same thing with We're Back. If your kid's 6 and they like dinosaurs, fucking put that on. Who gives a shit? But I would suggest you leave the room because you don't want to sit there for it. But yeah, so we just did that little mini forgotten animation block of just, that's what we had to do.
That happened to be also books.
Yeah, that happened to be books.
Bad interpretations.
Bad adaptations of books.
Yeah.
So yeah, episode 200. We don't know what we're going to do about that.
I believe we are definitely going to do banter next week. We're just going to be talking
review.
about some. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
No movie review next week, but we're trying to figure out something fun to do for number 200.
200. So thank you for listening. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, all that. All of our posts are on there that tell you what's coming up for the upcoming week. On all those posts, you can find our link tree, and that will take you to anywhere you can listen to us. So that could be YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever you prefer. Go ahead and follow, like, subscribe, give us a rating, help us get our numbers out there. We are a self-produced podcast So any support would be great. Any feedback would be also welcome. I think that's everything. This is Tommy.
And this is Jacob.
This is Tommy and Jacob's mixtape.
Nights that say neat. A herring.